Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Jen,
I'm last.
and together we are
Jazz Journey.
This is Jazz, and this is Gabby, our little girl here. She wanted to be included, so
Yes.
she's in the video. So we've been back from our Japan trip. We went in December, and we are now back in Taiwan where we live. But there are certain things about the Japan trip that we wanted to share with you guys in case you decide to go to Japan anytime soon.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Gabs. One of those things was the JR Pass and whether or not it's worth getting on your trip to Japan. Just the timeline thing. We went to Japan December of 2023. So it was during winter. It was for my 30th birthday. Yes.
Dirty 30.
I don't want to talk about it. Don't need to talk about it anymore. But yes, it was a great trip.
It was dirty.
What?
Dirty 30.
Anyway, so you're probably wondering what the JR Pass is. If you clicked on this video and you're still watching, oh my God, thank you. But the JR Pass is basically... Oh my God. So the JR Pass is short for Japan Railway Pass. That is owned by the Japan Railway Group, the company that is in charge of some of the trains. I think most of the high-speed rails or bullet trains, some ferries, buses. They have a car rental company because that's where we rented our car from, right?
Yes. But the JR Pass.
But that doesn't cover it. JR Pass basically, instead of getting there and buying single or one-way tickets,
which would be really expensive,
but also time consuming. You have to go figure out the train times and then buy a ticket. You can essentially, before you get to Japan, order a JR Pass. That is good for different days, 7, 14, and 21. We'll get into that later, but for now, just know that if you are traveling to Japan for more than 7 days and you plan on doing a lot of trips to different cities, it is a good thing to look into. I would say if you are in Tokyo, the JR Pass is great for to and from the airport, which can be kind of time consuming as well. And then there's different trains that work within the city, kind of like their subway, that are JR company. But honestly, most of them aren't. So if you're just traveling in the city of Tokyo, I'm not sure how beneficial a JR Pass would be for you. But otherwise, you can take it. I think every part of the country has some JR transportation. So if you get the pass, you can use it and get it ahead of time and activate it when you get there.
Is the JR group the only group that had a pass, or do you think the other?
They're the only ones that offer some sort of pass for your time in Japan.
Just to make it clear, it's because each railway is owned by different people. So you have to do your research. Even if you get the JR Pass,
do your research.
You have to do your research and make sure, or at least look, don't just assume that your JR Pass will cover everything.
Yeah.
Because you'll be pleasantly surprised. Good thing Jen went and talked to the people in the information booth and found out that it doesn't cover everything, and which ones it did and didn't cover. But usually if it says JR on it, it is a JR Pass train. Okay?
Yeah.
But some of the other lines don't necessarily say JR, but they're still covered. So again, you have to look. You have to do your research.
How much does it cost to just ride generally the MRT or like the subway system in Tokyo, the metro system? I think you said how much?
It was about anywhere between 180 to 350, 370 per trip we took on the Japanese rail or their Japanese MRT.
The metro. So we had the IC card. IC card, you can go like fill it up and then you can just scan that every time you get on. We were refilling it up like every 2 days, I think. And so we basically did the math. It costs about like $1.50 USD to go from one trip to another. Compared to where we live in Taiwan, that's pretty expensive for just taking the metro places. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. So the JR Pass might be able to help you through the local places as well. But again, you can only take the JR ones. They have different lines, but it's not every line in the city.
Imagine that you take the train everywhere throughout the day, right? So you get on the train, every time you get on the train, it's $1.50. Say you just go to or from like 6 times, 7 times, you're already spending $10, just to get around places. Obviously, you don't have a car. I didn't see any like U-bikes or anything while I was there. Did you see U-bikes?
Huh.
No, nothing like that.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah. So, so you're talking about spending
There's
like
buses
$10.
though.
Yeah, and the buses are cheaper than the metro for sure. But still, again, now it's more time consuming. Yeah, so getting around Tokyo without the JR Pass, it would be expensive to travel on their metro or
I think
on their...
we saw a lot of people biking, but they don't have like a bike rental system.
Yeah.
At least I didn't see one when we were there, and like they do in most places, in most cities.
Yeah, everybody was packed on those metro trains.
The
most packed I've ever seen people squeeze into a metro train, like sardines.
Yeah, be prepared. If you've ever been to like Paris, it's similar. They just pack you in like cows. But yeah, so that is an experience. Yeah, so let me talk about the price of the JR Pass, because it has also changed since we bought it last. I believe I bought it at the end of September, because they say to get it like maybe a month before your trip, and I got it like 2 days before there was like I think a 70% increase, which is really insane. But let me just check it now. So there's 7 days, 14 days, and 21 days that you can choose from for the JR Pass. We went with the 7-day because even though we were in Japan for 10 days, the 7-day thing was we were going to Hokkaido, traveling around Hokkaido and coming back. And the biggest fare of that trip was to and from Hokkaido.
Yeah.
Because we were taking the bullet train and it was a long route, basically going to the north of Japan. So that's why we decided to do that, because we also had to travel in Hokkaido.
Yeah. Other than Lake Toya, getting around to the other places in Hokkaido would have been, I'm guessing, expensive as well. Like going from Sapporo to Niseko, probably not between Niseko and Sapporo and Otaru, but I think going from Otaru back to Niseko and then back down, that would have been pretty expensive.
Yeah, like I said, there's the ordinary pass, which is just the regular car, and then there's a green pass as well, which is basically first class. I decided to get green pass for us at the time because I saw that the price was decent at the time, that it was September, and we didn't want to worry about reserving our tickets or reserving our seats ahead of time. We wanted just to decide when we were going, take the train and go. And then we also didn't want to worry about like suitcases, because it's kind of similar here in the bullet train in Taiwan. If you get the business class ticket, you just have a lot easier of a time making sure you get a seat and that your luggage has somewhere to go, because it's a lot more spacious. So I believe I spent about $250 per person. The total came out to like $500 for the both of us for the green class tickets for 7 days. I'm looking online now. It says that for the regular card, it's $352. For the 7-day green pass, $493. So you can see that's like a big difference. So now for 2 people, it'd be around $1,000. It went up quite a bit since we were there. I probably would not buy this now at this price. At least definitely not the green class, but hindsight. So just take that with a grain of salt. The ordinary pass is $352. And then the children's passes are less than that. If they're under 5 years old, they're free. So just keep that in mind.
I think it's just taking context of how much traveling you're going to do. Like, again, with your planning of your trip, if you're looking at where you're going to go, a lot of times, like say you're traveling all the way to the harbor from a different part of Tokyo, like you have to take into consideration that is going to be a long trip. And it seems to me that the metro in Japan the price goes up by how far you travel on it. At that point, it might be best, even if you're doing something like just staying in the same general area, just so you don't have to worry about transportation at all. In some degrees, you're gonna ride it. You're not gonna get a car. You're not gonna drive in the city. You're not gonna do some of those things unless you are. But most people probably aren't gonna do that, because with renting a car, now you have a liability issue. And some of these things, just for the sake of being able to travel for 7 days and not have to worry about as much as, dropping the card here and there, you just have to do your research to see what it's worth, see if it pans out for you. It worked for us. We were going all over. So for us, it made sense to get the pass. But for you, just try to plan out your traveling. And if you're going to have to go get 3 meals in a day, that 3 meals in a day right there, unless you're ordering it into you, it's going to be six rides on the JR alone. Do your research, plan your trip out, but I think it's worth it.
So basically you buy this online, you give them all your information, I think your passport information and everything, and then they mail it to you in your country. So they mailed it to Taiwan. I think it was quick. I think we got it within a week of ordering. So very efficient in that way. You take it, it's basically a voucher. So we got 2 vouchers. And then when you get to Tokyo, they have JR offices basically everywhere near the metro and train stations. And you will go to one of these offices and activate the JR pass. Just to be really clear, if you are getting the 7-day JR pass, for example, because this is what we did, if you go on a Friday morning at 8 a.m. and you say, I want to activate my 7-day JR pass, it will go all the way to the end of that Thursday night. So that's the 7 days. So it won't go to the Friday morning at 8 a.m. So if you're banking on that, just make sure. We had to basically change our route because that's what I had in mind. I thought if we activated this, I think it was like 10 in the morning on a Friday. We were traveling from Tokyo to Hokkaido. When we get to Hokkaido, we're doing everything and then coming back the next Friday at, I think, 7 or 8 in the morning. So I thought that was all covered. They told me no. It basically ends the following Thursday at midnight, before midnight. So then we basically would have to pay for a single ticket, which I think was close to $300 US for one person, which was less than what we were spending on our hotel. So I think that's when we just decided to cancel one of our Airbnbs or hotels in Lake Toya and then just come back a day earlier. So just keep that in mind. They have it like everywhere on their website that I think a lot of people have this misunderstanding. So just make sure that when you're planning your trip, it's like 7 days by the actual day count, not by when you activate it. So we went from Tokyo to Hokkaido, and that was our biggest and most expensive trip, was Tokyo to Hokkaido, Hokkaido to Tokyo, which is why we got the JR pass. If for any reason you're not going to Tokyo, I think if you're just flying into Hokkaido, or if you are just flying to the other side of Japan, like Kyoto or Osaka, I think that they have specific JR passes just for those regions. If, for example, you were going to Hokkaido, you flew in, so you didn't need to take a train from Tokyo, you can get a Hokkaido rail pass for, I think, $170 US for the 7 days. So that's a lot less than if you were to take it from Tokyo. So just keep that in mind as well, because the Hokkaido everything was operated by JR for the most part. So that would be a really good thing. If you're just flying into Hokkaido, just get the Hokkaido JR pass. It'll save you a lot more money. And then I think the other regions of Japan, you can probably find that as well. And then the difference between the green and the regular car, was it actually worth it to get the green pass?
I'd say so. I mean, with all the luggage we were taking, or all the luggage that we had, it made sense to me for us to have it. It's just for a convenience factor. It was more convenient not having to stand for, hours on end, or be jammed in with other people, or, have to fight for a seat or anything like that. It was just more convenient to be able to sit down, have a charger cable in the world of electronics that we live in. now having something to plug in and charge your stuff, charge your equipment, like that's just convenient, you know? So
yeah, but if you're
worth it.
used to, like, for example, if you go on flights a lot and you're thinking it's like the difference between economy and business class or first class, it's not really. Like, I think the seats are a little wider, more comfortable, and you can recline them a little bit, but they're not going to be treating you like a passenger princess. Like, you don't get like super VIP treatment just because you're in the green car. That's not really there. It's just the comfort.
I mean, our seats were like lazy boys. The feet and the back went. I didn't see that in regular class. The convenience of sitting in a lazy boy while I'm on the railway is nice.
Maybe looking at it now, to spend double what we spent on green class, I don't know if I would do it now like that. But it depends on you. I think that you're basically just getting comfier seats, more cables to plug your phone. You are getting more space. You are getting boarded like quicker with less reservations in mind, and your suitcase has more space as well. The only thing with that is when we were traveling from Otaru to Niseko, the JR train was just one train, so it really didn't matter what class you were in.
Yeah.
We were all just holding onto our luggages for dear life, and people were just crammed in there. So that didn't count because it was such a small route to the ski slopes in Niseko. So other than that, I think that's all the information we have. Jazz, do you have any other information to share with the class? Yeah, so at the end of the day, just do your research.
Find your pricing. Get a rough estimate. We spent more than we probably should have on that trip because, it's sometimes even when you do your research about spending and average spending and blah, 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 you're going to be off by a little bit, probably not as much as we were, but that's fine. That's fine. Just do your research. Figure out what's going to be most convenient for you. Figure out what's going to be most convenient for your pocket and your budget to travel. Conveniences and inconveniences aside, it's going to be what works best for you. Planning is premier in that situation. We are just trying to help you to let you know that there are options.
So to wrap it up, JR Pass is for people if you're traveling in Japan for more than 7 days, 7, 14, 21. If you are going to multiple cities, it's probably best for you. You can get specific passes for specific regions in Japan, which might save you a lot more money than getting the full just JR Pass on its own. There's not really a big difference between the green class and the ordinary class other than comfort and convenience. So if those two things really matter to you, go for the green. Get it about a month before you travel so that they can send it and mail it out to you. Your voucher starting the day that you activate it, not the time that you activate it for 7 days, 6 nights. Do your research so you're not just taking it from us or anyone else on the internet. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's your own experience. So just go and have fun. And that's all we have for this one. We hope to share more of our travels with you guys. And I can't believe you're still here. You're here. So,
thank
on.
you. Thank you. It'll be better. It'll always get better. Okay.
We're hoping to do better. We know we're just in this with our little Jazz toy and bad lighting.
Toy. Don't call Jazz a toy. Thank you for watching Jazz Journeys. Take Japan. JR Pass.
See you in the next one.
Deuces.
Bye.